What up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Psych. I'm here with my homeboy Corey Newsome. He is a football coach at Lindenwood University, which is a Division I football program in the St. Louis metropolitan area. They're in St. Charles, not really St. Louis, but close enough. But full disclosure, so known Corey for a long time. We were in the same recruiting class for football in college, and then we both ended up transferring schools and ended up being roommates together at Mizzou, where we both graduated from. So, in order to get started, I like to kind of get people's background on their sporting experience. So, Corey, can you say just a little bit about your upbringing in sports and just, when you first started playing organized sports and also what your experience was like with unorganized sports as well?
So, first to begin, appreciate you having me on your cast on the pod. It's about time you got a real one in here. But so sports has always been a part of my life since a kid. Once I found out my dad played football, it was like, you know what? Well, I gotta play sports. So I was in everything: baseball, basketball, obviously football, obviously baseball, even some hockey. Played some hockey, got in some soccer as well in middle school and high school. Obviously, played baseball, I played basketball, and I played football in high school. I was really good at basketball and football. Baseball was just I was just there. I was decent. I
Mhm.
was decent. I played outfield and I didn't have a strong arm. One time I tried to throw everybody think you can throw the guy out at home. Hit the cutoff man. So they used to call me cutoff man. I ain't throwing out. I'm going through the cutoff man. But so play ball. Got a grant because we was D3, so they didn't give
Or
scholarships.
AI.
Or NI,
Yeah.
yes. They didn't give scholarships, so we got a grant to play, Missouri Valley where we played at. Yes, and I did you in that one time we went head to head. Yes. Um, and now coach ball in the secondary at Lindenwood.
All right. So I got to call BS. He did not do me in. He pushed me after the play was over because I had him shut down. They weren't throwing no balls to him.
The whistle was not blown.
The whistle was blown. It was a good 5 seconds after the whistle was
uh,
blown. It just out of nowhere. And I was slowing down, I ended up crossing like my feet because I was like, play's dead. And here he come want to push people. It's all right. I got him back though. But let's back up a second. You gotta tell me about this hockey thing because I did not know this.
yeah, play some hockey. I wasn't good. I wasn't good at all. I wasn't good. I'm trying to slap shot everything, but yeah, I
You
definitely
trying to go Mighty
played.
Ducks on everything.
Yeah, right, and that's around the time they came out. Yeah,
But wait,
but
how old were you when you played hockey?
yeah, I was young. I was young. I don't know, maybe 10, 10,
Okay.
9. So I was young.
But it was
I
like
was
I want to play
young.
hockey. Like where? How did this come about? Because I feel like
The Mighty Ducks.
okay, so you
Mighty,
saw Mighty Ducks, you were like,
Mighty,
hey, I want to go play hockey.
Mighty Ducks. Yep, Mighty Ducks.
Mhm.
They formed that V. I'm like, yeah, that look fun. No, but growing up, we played street hockey. Growing
Mhm.
up, we played street hockey in the street. You
Mhm.
had to make sure that the cars come, you got to get out the side. But yeah, we
Mhm.
played street hockey
Mhm.
over there in the St. Louis. So we played street
Now,
hockey.
were you playing with rollerblades or just on your regular shoes you play? Because people did street hockey different ways.
No, you regular shoes, regular shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
regular
Okay.
shoes with the
Okay.
stick. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so you were saying that one of the things we found out your dad played football. That can you say a little bit about that and how that piqued your interest in sport,
So I always
football?
loved sports
Mhm.
since I was a young kid. But when I found out that my dad was really good at football,
Mhm.
that really, I don't know, 5, 6,
Mhm.
you know, I was like, I really want to get into football then because it wouldn't be like your dad. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to get into football. And I love the game. I always loved the game. But at that point, I was like,
Mhm.
man, I really want to get into football. My dad was good. I think I could be good too.
Okay.
So I went into it, full go.
Now, when you say good, explain that.
So good is when you're done 20 years from now and you're walking down the street and somebody notice you and they look at your son and be like, yo, dad was a I think that's good.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Can you say a little bit about what you know of your dad's sport background in general, along especially with football?
So he played cornerback. Uh, he went to, I forgot that.
Southeast,
Well,
Southeast Missouri.
in college, yeah,
Yeah.
Southeast Missouri State. Yep, he played there in college as a cornerback.
Mhm.
But in high school, the high school is no longer there anymore. But I forgot the name of it. But I mean, he's very, very good. He was an undersized cornerback, and he was a bodybuilder as well.
Mhm.
So he outlifted everybody, all the linemen and all them. He could lift way more than what they could do. So a
Mhm.
lot of people was mad at him about that. He got slack about that. You know, he
Mhm.
outlifting linemen, benching, squatting, all that.
Mhm.
He could outdo the linemen. So as a cornerback, you know, he
Mhm.
was 5'9", 5'8" at the time, probably just outlifting everybody at the time. But I don't know how much they lift
Mhm.
back then in the 70s, you know,
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they lived back then, but
Mhm.
so he did. He got a scholarship to go play ball at Southeast Missouri State. A couple of his friends went to play at Division I colleges, Mizzou, some went to
Mhm.
Texas. But the thing that I hate about my dad, and I tell him this all the time, he really didn't want to play football.
Mhm.
He just did it as a means to go to school,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But he didn't really want to do it, and that's why he really wasn't worried about
Mhm.
grades.
Mhm.
You know, he had to go to Southeast because he wasn't getting the grades. Like, just doing this, you
Mhm.
know. Um,
I was like, I'm good at it.
I'm
It's
good
like
at it.
it don't take much effort.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And all his friends were really serious about it, something they really wanted to do. So they
Mhm.
put in more time and effort into it. And like I said, they went on to the league and everything. And he wanted to be because his dad, which is my grandfather, just a
Really?
little.
That's how it works. You set yourself up for that one. I
Yes,
had to
that's
take
true. That's true.
that.
So just a little Black history,
Mhm.
St. Louis Black history. My grandfather, Stanley Newsome, um, was one of the the first black deputy firefighter chief in St. Louis.
Mhm.
So he's my dad wanted to be a firefighter, you know, after his dad. So
Mhm.
when he stopped playing football, he went to St. Louis, went back home to St. Louis and became a firefighter for 20 some years. So,
Oh,
you know,
oh.
but he was good enough to play. When you got NFL guys, cause you know they come back and they meet all the
Mhm.
time, meet up all the time,
Mhm.
saying your dad was this, is that. That means your dad was pretty good. Because
Well,
they don't just say that about anybody that wasn't
yeah.
good.
Usually it's like, especially your friends, you talk smack. It's like,
Yes.
man, I used to
I
shut you
used to
down
beat you.
crazy.
They don't
That's
say that. I've never heard that. Out of
now you
all the
saw
people.
how he opened. So that lets you know how cold I was. He got to try to tough up
Uh,
again. Yeah, I didn't bring that up.
uh,
When you cold, they want to talk smack about shit. But go ahead, continue.
right. So yeah, he just wanted to be a
Mhm.
firefighter, you know. So that's which was was fine. But when I saw the tapes, I saw the footage, and I listened to all the old stories that everybody say about him. It's like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And from there, it just sparked, and I'm like, I want to do football, you know.
Okay. And so you said high school we played basketball, football, uh, and then can you say a little bit about your recruiting experience and what made you decide to go NAI?
So I hate saying this, but I was a C student. I
Mhm.
wasn't concerned about grades just because I knew from experience and being raised by, I have four aunties and two older um, cousins that were older that went to school and was not doing anything with their degree. So
Mhm.
I knew this school stuff is a joke. You know, it's a joke. Unless you're specializing in something,
Mhm.
it's a joke. How many of us using A plus B equals Z or whatever it is squared? We're not using that stuff. It's a joke for the most part.
I mean, I use a Pythagorean theorem every day. Don't it everybody? No,
Unless you specialize in
no.
something, Pythagorean theorem. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's a joke. So I didn't take it serious. ACT, I just needed 18. That's all I needed to get the scholarship. So I just aimed for my 18. Actually, I
Mhm.
aimed for 19. I think I got it at 19 too. So I was like, I didn't take it serious. But I knew I was good enough to play at the next level. I knew that.
Mhm.
Freshman year, I took my ACL, just a little bit of history. And my mom didn't want to get surgery on me. They didn't want them cutting me because they wanted to put screws in it and stuff like that. And she
Mhm.
was like, no, I don't want screws in there. This is 98. Like, I don't want screws in there. And he had screws in the rest of his life. It was like, what's the long-term effect on that?
Mhm.
So we did acupuncture. When you
Mhm.
have a torn ACL, acupuncture not going to do nothing for
Right.
it,
Right.
They ain't gonna do nothing for
Mhm.
it. So that made me go into the NAI ain't around. But I also back then, my mom worked a lot, just like a lot of people, moms and dads. But we didn't know anything about the recruiting process. As far as cutting tape, putting tape together, cutting tape, putting the tape out there, going to these camps like we have right now. They had camps back then. I didn't go to any camps to do any put myself out there for doing drills or anything like that to show coaches. So I didn't do any of that. So it was just, coaches coming to the school to see my tape. And once, we had some guys that go to Mizzou, had some guys that go to Illinois. Them coaches come, everybody know each other. They might see something like, he can't work for us, but he might work for you. He'll send it out to one of his friends that coach somewhere else, and that's how word get around about other players, so at Moval, the coach, I can't think of his name, but
Coach Trough?
no, not
Oh, the
Trough.
recruiting
The
coach.
recruiting
Mike
coach
was
who
talking about
came.
that,
The
yeah.
recruiting coach that came. They called us to the offices after school. They called us to the office, and we went to the locker room and waited on this guy to come. We waiting in there, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes after they said to come. He come in there. He made an entrance. We had the two, like the saloon doors. He came and kicked the door in. And talking Valley and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that got me pretty pumped, So obviously I definitely went there, and then like the rest of us, once we go there, they changed the staff. That guy's name there.
Yeah.
So which I now at the college level I see that a lot. You getting recruited by somebody, and that's why they got the portal. You getting recruited by somebody, and then he's gone. So you never play underneath that coach that came and talked to you and your parents. So that was my recruiting thing.
Yeah, so just to kind of clarify a little bit, the person that was really recruiting the St. Louis area, right? As you can hear, he was definitely, I guess, a character, if you will, like
Yes.
enthusiastic,
Very.
had this energy, and we didn't know he had left until we showed up for camp.
Already signed.
Right. First day, moving in the doors. Everybody's like, "Yeah, where's my recruit coach at?" Like, and he was gonna be coaching, I think, like the D line or something like that. And the look on everybody's faces. Some of the upperclassmen, I think they had knew that he was leaving, and they were mad, and they were thinking about transferring because of it. Because they didn't like how they were like, yeah. They didn't kind of let them tell you,
Right.
because they didn't want to lose your. I don't know how the rules work for NAI compared to NCAA, but I think they're a little bit more lax in some ways, where it's like if the coach that recruited you left, you could easily leave at that time, and they really couldn't dictate where you could go like they could with the NCAA, because NCAA. I had some friends who, when they were transferring, either they transferred to Mizzou or they transferred somewhere else. But it was like, well, I came to Mizzou because they were like, you couldn't transfer to any school in the ACC, and then like like certain schools or whatever, like that was a condition. It basically was a contract. Otherwise, you could lose 2 years of eligibility at the time, or you had to go to JUCO, wait, then transfer.
What about a major too? If they had, so if Mizzou or let's say Mizzou didn't have your major, then you could have transferred to another university with their major.
It's that it kind of depends on like
Who the
how
player
good,
was.
how good you were, right? And if you got along well and some other circumstance. Now, especially if you were big on academics, because then it really would blow up in their face, right?
True. Very true.
But let me ask you this, because I know at the time, now you got the portal, which is a big thing, but you mentioned grades. What kept you from going to a JUCO and then seeing where you could go from there?
I thought JUCO was great football, but I heard horror stories about JUCO for as the facilities. You playing on dirt and stuff like that. I heard like, man, I'm not trying to do that. So I didn't want to go that route. And then I was a little bit of I was scared a little bit because you only there for 2 years. After 2 years, what am I doing after 2 years? You don't have a full bachelor's after that 2 years. So now I got to do this whole recruiting process over again. And I really wasn't trying to do that. I really wasn't trying to do that. And at that point, I knew I wasn't good enough to go to the league. So I knew after these 4 years, I'm going to just have to, get a job and start, blending into society, a regular person. So I didn't want to do the 2 years there and then go somewhere else. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go here, get this paper that they say I need, and then call it a day, man.
I actually disagree with you. I think had you gone Division One, I think you would have went to the league. Just from the guys that I played with at Mizzou that did go to the league,
Mm.
like your size is like your size is weird where it's like you're not tall because you what 5'2", 5'3"? No, sorry. But no, like because it's like for like your build is like you have like a wide frame, uh, and like your reach for like your height where it's like it's like he ain't like 6'2" or nothing like that. How tall are you?
5'9", 5'9" and a
Right. But
half.
then like, especially you playing like corner, you go to like jam somebody and it's like, oh wait, his reach is a lot. Like,
Yeah, longer than
where'd your hand come from? It's like, and so, but the biggest thing I think was the combination of your strength and your speed for your size, very similar to your dad, where it's like
right.
you are a lot stronger than what you look. And then with your speed, where it's like, I could jam you on the line, where you gonna go? Or in terms of playing receiver, and that's the other thing too. Your hands, it's like,
Right.
well, you're not going to get jammed easily, and then it's like you can quickly get some separation. I think you could have. I thought if you would have went D1, especially like a smaller D1, I
Yeah.
think you probably would have started real quick there. Playing slot, it's just could they use you effectively? And if you were to play slot, you'd be a lot capable of doing things, and
Right.
then they could split you out wide because you did, I think, had that speed to get over the top on somebody.
Oh yeah.
And so that's just from what I saw, because there was like uh there's just a couple of guys who like were stars that I know went to the league, and you are like twice his size, at the time. So, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
with that, so you were mostly recruited by NAIA schools, or were there any like D3,
It
D2,
was
or
some
D1s?
D3s. Now, if you want the names, I can't give you. I don't remember that far, but
Mhm,
it was definitely some D3s
mhm,
that came about. Um, but from what I hear, um, from what I was told is you don't do D3, just go NAIA
mhm.
because you get more money in NAIA than you do D3.
Right, because there's no money for it's whatever you get is whatever you're eligible for.
Right, paying
NAIA is like
basically.
there are grants, there are some scholarships, but it's a lot of grants,
Right, a lot of
but they'll
grants.
package it together.
Yes.
Now, with that though, because your team did go, in St. Louis, people are petty, and will be like, "Did your team play at the Dome?" In other words, did your team go to state or even get close to going to state?
Right.
So your junior year, y'all, or was it your junior year you went to state?
Junior year.
It went to state,
Yes.
correct, and
Yes.
got lost to a team, I
No,
believe.
we didn't lose to a team. We lost to a player. Tony Temple is who we lost to.
Okay.
That's who we lost to.
I didn't know it was him. He ran all over you like that.
Yes, it ran all through us.
Okay. But
Yes.
can you talk about your experience just being on a team that went to state, and how that also might have impacted your ability to get recruited? Because there is quite a bit of exposure when you go on the state. It's like all the scouts are there, kind of thing.
So it was fun going down to the Dome because this is '01. So the Rams, just won a Super Bowl maybe a year and a half ago at this time. And so, the city is flying high, and to be playing at the Dome where the Super Bowl team is playing, it's like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
As a 17, 16-year-old kid, that is crazy. You're like, oh man, this is crazy, playing on the big stage. And they had a turf, so everybody had a turf stuff, because if you fall on that ground, you skid, them skid marks hurt.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. It was fun. But one thing that game showed me and told me is because I never played. My brother played, and he actually got a pick on it. He played because my brother, and he was a senior, and I was a junior, obviously. So he got a pick in that game, which was pretty good because they didn't see him coming. He got the backside. But anyway, so I did get a chance to actually play in the game, which I should have played, but there's neither here nor there. So I knew at that point, once again, that football um, may not be a career for me at that point. Because if I'm not good enough to get in this game when we're losing, I think as a coach, I once again I like to at that high school put your players in. You already lost. This is the fourth quarter. We down 2 scores. If you can't score 2 scores in the first 3 quarters, why you think you're gonna score them in the fourth quarter? If you can't move the ball,
Just don't hope away. You like forget
might as
it.
well let's play these guys. 2 minutes left. Go ahead, put the guys
Oh,
in
okay,
there.
yeah.
Put your juniors in there at least. I won't put any freshmen in, but unless they balling. But
Mhm,
put your juniors in there. Give them a little taste of this because they're gonna be your guys next year.
mhm,
Give them a little taste, a little confidence. Let your seniors go out. Let the crowd, cheer for your guys as they go out.
mhm,
And sit them and let your juniors get in there and play.
mhm,
So I felt like I should have played. Plus, I wasn't that bad of an athlete. I should have played.
mhm.
I should have played. The other guys didn't do anything. Put me in there. So I knew at that point, this is football, doing it for a living is not for me. So
Okay,
I need to come up with plan B. What's plan B?
okay. Now, what was the transition like for you from high school to college as a student and as an athlete?
So that transition is very, very different.
Mhm,
Very different. So I traveled and we did things as a family. So me being from home, that wasn't the first time that happened because I've been from home before. So I was used to that aspect of it. But going to an unknown place, um, by yourself it's kind of scary. You go into a place in the middle of Missouri at that by yourself.
mhm,
It's kind of scary. So at first I had butterflies and scary and stuff.
mhm,
But talking to my dad, because obviously he had that experience, he was like, he called me Drew. He was like, Drew, you'll be fine. He
mhm,
said the players on your team will be your friends.
mhm,
Like they're gonna be your friends. And once y'all go, y'all get through camp, y'all do
mhm,
all this stuff. I promise you're gonna have a bunch of friends.
mhm.
And lo and behold, we go. I meet y'all five ugly dudes, man. You, Mike, Jermaine, JT, Go.
Mhm.
I meet all y'all guys, man, and shit, that's history, man. We
Okay.
still rocking.
Right, right. And I do think that's one of the things about going to a smaller school where there's a small D1, because there's some D1s that are like 5,000 people and whatnot. That if you go to a small school, it's like y'all are end up being connected so much, kind of almost like high school, but with the
Yes.
sport, because you're there in the summers, you're there spring ball, some classes together. Ain't much to do because Moval is like 1,200 people in a town of like 14,000, and it's a big farm town. So it's like you don't even see all of like the 14,000 like anywhere close to be maybe like
Yes.
a high school event. That would be about it, or the Sonic parking lot be crashed.
Right.
But there wasn't much to do, so it was like
Uh,
you really couldn't get into trouble. It's like when we
Flood Walmart.
yeah, it's like when we would try to go out and do something, go out to now Noster, Missouri,
Good
and
old
be
Nana.
chilling out there. Next, thing you know, a stealth fighter would fly over above. We just like, where are we right now? It's like, but that was life at the time. And so then, when you think about your experience, with being recruited, transitioning in from high school to college, and you look back at it as a coach now,
Mhm.
what is the biggest contrast that you see? What are the things that are the same? What are the things that are different about it, would you say? And also with that, what's better, what's worse? What do you like? What do you hate about it?
So let's go to the hate first. I hate the cat and mouse game that a
Mhm,
lot of coaches, organizations do.
mhm,
So if social media is big now, when you have a recruit posting on social media, I got an offer from ABC College.
mhm,
Then 2 hours later, C, D, and E gonna come and offer him just because A, B, and C offer him. So it's just a game of offers. Everybody throwing an offer out
mhm,
there, and none of it is real offers because the guy they really want, if he signs on, then that guy's out because
mhm,
you have only so much money that you have to spend to everybody. So
mhm,
I hate that cat and mouse game that you do. Um, but I think that the same thing is it's just so funny when you talking to them guys like, man, we were just in your seat. We experienced this as well.
mhm,
And one thing I like about the staff at Lindenwood, man, is they're gonna be honest. We're gonna be open and honest about you. If
mhm,
you're a fit, you're a fit. If you're not,
mhm,
you're not. And we really good about saying everybody is not a fit.
mhm,
And guess what? That is okay.
mhm,
You're gonna find your fit. You're gonna find your niche or whatever you want to do. You're gonna find it, and Godspeed and good luck to you.
mhm,
I think our guys really do a good job. The coach staff do a really good job with that,
mhm,
um, and I like that. I like that.
mhm.
Um, yeah, that's
So,
it.
so what are some of the differences that you see between the recruiting process when you went through it versus, as a player, versus now being a coach?
The phone, the phone. As a player, um, they'll call you, but they'll show up more to your games and to your the school. Now everything is on the phone. I can see your whole high school career on my phone just by hitting the button. I can see all that. We still talk to high school teachers and stuff like that just to get really who you are. The maintenance department, because if you treat the maintenance bad, you're gonna treat everybody else bad as well.
You mean the training staff?
The training staff and the maintenance inside the school.
Oh,
Because like
okay,
I said, with
okay.
recruiting, you talk to the high school staff. So how you treat them is how you're gonna treat everybody. So we talk to those people as well, because they're an important part of your life, and they're going to see you when you're walking through the halls when you're not an athlete. At that point, you're a student. So how are you as a student? Because sometimes people forget when you go to college, you're a student athlete. You still got to get them grades, otherwise you're not going to play. So we talked to all them guys. So I like that aspect of it, that for us getting to know the real person of who you really are, because they're going to know. The lunch ladies as well. We talk to them as well, and the lunch guys as well. Everybody does it, not just one gender. So yeah, we talk to all them people, and it's the phone, I think, is a major thing. The major thing, you could text, you could call in, obviously, you could video chat. Just sending information back and forth just like that, it makes it a whole lot easier. So you still travel to go see the kid, but everything by that. You're just confirming, what you see on video is what you're seeing, just looking at the speed, the quickness to get off all that type of stuff in real life.
Okay.
So you travel once as opposed to 4 or 5 times.
Okay. And then you had a unique experience of uh, being involved with a program that transitioned from Division 2 to Division 1. Can you say a little bit about what that was like, what you saw and everything?
So that was major, first of all, for the city of St. Louis, or for St. Louis
Area, metropolitan.
area. Yes. I still call St. Charles St. Louis. So, but the St. Louis area was major because we had, obviously, Lindenwood was D2, but that was the only ball in that area. Only other, Kansas City had William Jewell, and I mean that was it. Mo West, Southeast, and stuff like that. But they were a couple hours outside St. Louis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
'Cause
was
I think
it was it.
outside of when they were D2, the closest D2 program was what, like Lincoln or something like
Lincoln,
that.
yeah, down
And
Jeff City,
then
yeah.
the
Yeah.
closest D1 was uh what's the Illinois school in Macomb?
Mo West.
No, it's in Illinois. Cause it's in Macomb. That's
Oh,
where the
West
Rams.
Illinois.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
closest
West
D1, but
Illinois.
it's like I don't. They're not a big school, and I don't think they're the best
No.
in football. But that was like the closest. But people weren't going over there to go see them because it was too much of a trek. And so
Yes.
now you have this Division 1 where it's the only Division 1 other than Macomb within, honestly, for like the St. Louis area, it's like 20-minute drive. So,
Yes.
and so you were saying just what you saw, I guess, how has being close to a major city like that, how has that helped the transition for D2
So
to D1?
I'm gonna be honest. I believe it's going very slow.
Mhm.
I thought it would have picked up a lot sooner. We still have people who are saying, "Oh, Lindenwood, they D2, right?" Like, no, we do one. It's going on the 3rd year of being Division 1. So I think the transition is kind of going slow, and a lot of kids, which is what you want to know that you're a D1, are slowly learning that Lindenwood is a D1 in St. Louis. The St. Louis has a D1, because we put everything with St. Charles because that's where they're at. Instead of saying St. Charles, a suburb of St. Louis, or something like that, where they familiar yourself with St. Louis, because people think of Missouri, for some reason they still think of Midwest Life Farm and stuff like that. I still have kids that, when they come in recruiting, I thought it was gonna be a farm. Like, no, there's no farms here.
So if you want one, there are some in the St. Charles area.
Right,
Yeah.
further out, but
Yeah.
it's like, so I think that hurts a little bit for the transition, getting it over, because up until last year we still had a primary D2 squad. Every year, you get more and more D1 athletes into your program, but that transition, I believe,
Mhm.
was is kind of slow going,
Mhm.
but it'll definitely pick up. You
Mhm.
know, like I said, the coaching staff is great out there communicating. The school
Mhm.
is backing us, so once you have that, get
Mhm.
full steam ahead.
Mhm. In terms of, I guess, the student athlete, what is the difference that you see between like a D2 and D1 student athlete?
To be honest, so the only difference is uh, two things. Obviously, some of the body is different on some, not all, but some the body is different.
Mhm.
That and then your mentality, I think,
Mhm.
is a major thing between the D1 and the D2
Mhm.
athlete. Their mentality, their eagerness to go and
Mhm.
attack whatever it is they need to do.
Mhm.
I think that's a major difference between the two.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
mentality, I think, is much more important than the body, I think, because you could get the body right. You
Mhm.
can't change your height, but your weight
Well,
and
actually,
what you
now you
live.
can.
I did see that this guy went. Did he go from like he went to like the 6'4", 6'2", or something like that? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Why would you do that?
We getting off subject with
Right?
that though,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
That's
yeah, I get what
true.
you're saying. Like
Yeah,
you can get in the weight room, kind of do things,
yeah.
get
You can
faster, get
formulate. Yeah, you can
bigger.
transform your
But you
body.
said the mentality though. Can you say, can you expand on that? Expand on the mentality
So
piece.
you're not every D1 athlete is playing ball because they're in a impoverished life at
Mhm.
home.
Mhm.
Their home life is horrible. Not everyone is like that. Some of them have good lifestyles. It's just what they want to do
Mhm.
with their life. They knew it as a kid, they were
Mhm.
good at it, and they just gonna go gun ho and do it.
Mhm.
So their mentality is a little bit different than the D2 guys.
Mhm.
The D1, like I said, you were the man in high school,
Mhm.
and you were good enough to get a scholarship to go D1.
Mhm.
So your mentality is different because you got to keep that scholarship, so you got to maintain that you're on it all time. You
Mhm.
got to be on it all time. Got to be ready at all time. And the D2 player, 98% of those guys, well, maybe 94, are not going to the
Mhm.
league. It's a lot of D2 guys in the league. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot in the league, a lot of D3, a lot of NAI guys in the league. But for the most part, they're gonna go and go
Mhm.
into the life and get a regular 9 to 5,
Mhm. Mhm.
or work from home now. So the mentality is I need this, I need to go, I gotta get it. I gotta
Mhm.
get it all the time. And the D2 athlete, for the most part, are not like that.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. And so, with going to D1, of course, there's like for like a student athlete, like there's a different set of expectations. So Division 1, you can get more scholarship money. You have more scholarships to give out. But of course, now we have something that wasn't around when we were around, which
Right.
is NIL. How has that impacted recruiting from what you've seen, let alone heard, whether your program, other program, just even just when you approach student athletes in the recruiting process, like what's different with that?
So they don't even say hi anymore. The first words, how much you're gonna pay me?
Literally, they said that to you?
How much you gonna pay me?
Mhm.
That's what they say. They want to know how much they're going to get
Mhm.
by me coming to your school.
Mhm.
That's what they want.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but the way that we made it, meaning we the adults have made it,
Mhm.
is that the kids get paid to play ball as they should,
Mhm.
because the universities are making so much money.
Mhm.
The coaches are making so much money. The kids deserve a piece of that because they're out there doing it.
Mhm.
So they deserve a piece. I'm not against it at all. I love the NIL. Give them money. Give it to them, especially the ones that deserve it. But they forget about the student part at it.
Mhm.
You got to be a good student to
Mhm.
show up, because in college, the coaches are not going to stand behind you and be like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this and do that. Some will, especially the ones that are really good. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, just the way it works in the world, when you're a good athlete, when you're going to produce, when you're going to put butts in the seats, when you're going to make the university money,
Mhm.
they have a coach that, the coach, we call him like the get back coach, but he's going
Mhm.
to be right there next to you, making sure you do your homework, make sure you do all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
So I, I love the NIL for that
Mhm.
aspect. It gives the kids opportunity. Like some of these kids now that just got drafted, they're already millionaires. They don't care about
Mhm.
that rookie contract. Some, maybe Caleb, I probably would make more than he did in college than he did his first rookie contract.
Mhm.
I think it's only 25 million. They,
Mhm.
could get like they're over the length of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he made more, at school than he is his first year in the league. So that helps the kids and it helps them, like say, some with their family. So they give them more opportunity to get that mindset that I got to make this happen, go out there and ball out.
Okay. Okay. So I guess what would you change about the NIL process if you were the one making the decision?
Ooh, I think I will put a cap on how much they can make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and freshmen, I don't believe should be able to do it. I think you should because you got to be there 3 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think your second year you come out and you should be able to make money. I don't think freshmen should be able to make that much money.
So that
Freshmen,
way, it's, I guess, not a part of the recruiting process.
correct,
Okay.
correct,
Mm-hmm.
correct. So it won't be part of the recruiting process, and you got to prove yourself to that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove because what you did in high school, not necessarily what you're going to do at college.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we do have these 5 stars that are, I say bust, but they're not 5 stars after their first year.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them that money, now you stuck in this contract, or you got to pay them off, or whatever happens. Then you try to sue the kid because the kid, we haven't seen that yet, I don't think, but I'm sure it's going to come. When they give money to a kid and he doesn't produce like you thought he was, and you're not making money off his image like you thought you was, and then you're trying to sue him and get some money back. So that I'm sure that's going to come. You don't have to worry about that, especially when we go out and produce that first year. So I think that helps with that as well.
Okay. And then I guess, because I guess one of the misnomers is it's like everybody thinking, NIL, I'm going to, get some money, this and that as a recruit. And it's like, well, one, it's like you got the Power Five, right? Though the Power Five schools, get on my soapbox for a second because I get into this argument with people a lot. So little context here. So I got my master's in sports psychology. With that, I took like different classes, like the financial aspects of sports, even classes like running facility. Y'all don't even know what goes into running a sport facility. Like there's a lot of complexities with it and stuff like that. And like if you do an event, the misnomer that a lot of people have is that all these Division I programs are making money. That's actually not true. If you are not in the Power Five, you're probably not turning a profit unless you're one of the better non-Power Five schools. Or because usually that's like, well, you're on TV enough. There's some interest where the NCAA has requirements of if you're on TV, you have to be paid this minimum amount. And then if you are on TV twice, then you're probably going to turn a profit at that point. Now, if you go down so you have the Power Five, then you have what they call the mid-major, and then you have the FCS programs. Quite a few FCS programs actually cost the school money to have, right? If they don't have the attendance that they need, then they're losing money for the school. If they don't get invited to be, playing in the Powder Puff games where they basically taking an L against a Power Five team, then it's like, well, what profit are you generating? Because you're not on TV, do you have the attendance? Are boosters donating money to support the program? So that's why you had a lot of schools that used to have football that don't have it anymore. Because SLU used to have a football team, but they cut it because of like just the money for it.
Right.
So especially at the FCS level, right? What are you seeing, not your particular school, but just in general, what are schools doing in terms of NIL with recruiting? Because I think, like you said, some people think, well, how much are you going to give me? And it's like, well, the FCS does not operate the same in terms of money as what the Power Five does. So how is that impacting that level in terms of it? Like, clearly kids are still asking for a check.
Oh yeah, kids are still asking for it, but so that comes down to the match as well. Comes down to the match. So if that's the first thing that you ask, you're probably not going to be there. It's because we're not looking for that. That's part of it, but that's not what it's not what we do. It's not what we're here for, So the NIL once again is good for the kids, but like I say, certain programs is not good. I've heard where coaches, not necessarily at my school, but I've heard where coaches be like, well, we're not giving you any money. What have you done for it? maybe down the road after that first year or first practice or something, but not right now. It's not going to be
Mhm.
part of the conversation, and they end
Mhm.
the visit like that.
Mhm.
I've heard of those conversations being had before because they're not giving you money.
Mhm.
We're not, you know, if it's something whereas you have your own organization that you were talking to prior that wants to provide you with that, that's fine. We got to go through the proper channel with the school, and that's something that works out, and it works out.
Mhm.
Then obviously you can do that and still play ball here. But for as giving money like that, no,
Mhm.
no, a lot of schools are not doing that. For as the FCS
Mhm.
anyway, FBS obviously they are. For the ones that have a name out there with people, a
Mhm.
likeness that people actually are going to pay for,
Mhm.
because that's how the NL works. Somebody has to pay for something, then they can give you the money.
Mhm.
You're endorsing something, where people are paying for due
Mhm.
to your likeness. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I know there are some programs what they do is they get like a collective where they put money in a pot and they can just get out to student athletes. I know the University of Memphis got a 5 million NIL deal from FedEx, where it's like they have a pot to which they can give something to student athletes that
right,
come. Um, but again, it's like you have to be a program that has those boosters or has
yes,
some relationship with the school where they're down to do that for that to occur. But I think, like you said, it's like everyone thinks it's all the same for the Division One level, and it's like
it's
it's
not.
not.
No,
It's very different in terms of some of the rules and stuff with the recruiting process, and
yes.
it's I think that how NIL went, like that's where it kind of went wrong at, where it's like the schools, I think if they're turning a profit and they could give money, it's like, well, they should just give a blanketed amount to, like, I think it should be a thing like this. Like, you'll get a blanketed, like, if you're on scholarship, you can get this much, or you can turn down your scholarship and get this much more,
Right.
right? But you take whatever risk. That way they can give more to all student athletes, period. Whether your program makes a profit or not, right?
See,
Everybody,
I disagree with that.
or even for
It,
that team,
yeah,
whether
yeah.
whichever way,
If
like how
your
they want to.
program is making profit, you deserve to get paid for it. I think just like this is off the subject, but just like women's Americans volleyball players and soccer players,
Mhm.
you deserve to get paid more. They
Mhm.
get paid less than the men, but they're out there winning and getting further than the men are, and the men get paid more just because they're men. I disagree with that, but
Right, right.
and they have jerseys. The women have jersey sales and stuff like that,
Mhm.
comparable to the men. But I think in the sports, let's say lacrosse, you're not going to make as much money as the football players because the football is bringing in more
Mhm.
money on certain programs. Not every program
Mhm.
it's like that, but I believe the program turns a profit, then you get some money. That's the way
Right.
I
And
feel
maybe it
about it.
could be a thing where it's like all student athletes get some, but if the programs that are turning your program turns a profit, then y'all can get more. And then
Right,
that can be an incentive
right,
in whatever way.
right,
But then after that, it's like NIL is like whatever you want to go and do, you can go and do and not get in trouble. You can
right.
go sign autographs for money. You can go do like, maybe you do a sponsorship thing or whatever
Hmm.
for whatever fitness program or whatever it is you want to do. And you can get paid on that and not have to worry about losing your eligibility. Because
Right.
at the time before NIL, if you signed an autograph and you didn't sign it to a specific person, under the NCAA rules, that was enough for you to lose your eligibility.
Mm,
Even if you didn't take any money or anything, if that person went and sold it,
right.
or even not even sold it, but attempted to sell it on like eBay, under the NCAA rules, your eligibility is exhausted immediately. And like I know this people that this happened to, and they had to go and appeal it. And sometimes they didn't even know about it, but the school was like fighting it for them. They're like, we gotta let you know you're not eligible right now until we get this cleared up. So I do think that NIL has helped, but I think in the way it wasn't thought out and has been like a wild, wild west, which
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
is affecting student athletes because I've heard some coaches say that they don't really recruit high school anymore. They rather just go to the portal, which we're going to touch on next, and yeah, go to the portal and kind of just go from there. Versus why am I going to take a chance on this kid that I don't know if physically they'll and mentally they'll be able to make the transition in terms of like the playbook and learning that and executing it as well as
Yes.
just like their character. Like
Yes.
how are they doing? Because they might have been cool when they're at home with their parents and stuff, but then they get away and go to college
Yes.
they get buck wild, and it's like, oh, okay, their maturity is not what we need it to be.
Yes.
Like they need to be monitored closely, and we ain't trying to do all that. So, how do you think NIL? Well, let me back up. Just what are your thoughts on the transfer portal and then throwing the NIL kind of piece of it with that as well? What are your
The
thoughts?
transfer portal, I believe, is both best of both worlds. It's definitely good and it's definitely bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go with the bad first. It is bad because it gives people a sense of greener pastures
Mm-hmm.
that may or may not be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think last I checked, I think I read something like it was like 3,500 some people, kids in a portal. There's not that many schools for you. So where are you gonna go?
Mm-hmm.
You go just sit there, go back home, get a
Mm-hmm.
job. So I think it's bad for that reason, because some kids, get into the portal thinking that, oh, I'm not getting treated fair here. I want to play more. Everybody want to play more, which I understand it, but everybody want to play more where they're at, and they're not getting played. They think if I go in the portal, the coach gonna see me and I'm gonna get more playing time.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, as we see, that's not the case. A lot of kids get stuck in that portal.
Mm-hmm.
The good, I believe, is because you could take that chance, get in the portal, and it'd be a better opportunity for you somewhere else. Not necessarily better playing time, but maybe better fit. The community might be better. The school might be better for you. It's a better fit. So I love that aspect. And then it makes it fair. I think it makes it fair. Life is not fair in a lot of aspects, but this aspect, I think it makes it fair. Because coaches, like we just said, coaches were getting signed away. And now this kid's got to play for 4 years, 3 years underneath the coach. He didn't even talk to the coach, and before he signed. And this guy's coming in, changing the way he thought he was going to be used,
Mm-hmm.
and that messes up your career. That goes from a kid who had potential of getting drafted to not drafted because they used him in a different way than he'd like to be used. So I like him in that aspect. It played to the good, and so NIL is, some kids who enter that portal didn't have they were in a place in the area where they didn't have car dealerships or whatever it was so they could get NIL deals. They prove themselves a year or two there. They get into the portal and then they have opportunity to get NIL deals. So I like it in that aspect. It definitely helps with recruiting kids if you have an NIL establishment with your school, for it's like a agency that work with your school to get players opportunities for NIL endorsement deals, or the organization go out and find endorsement deals that they give to your players. So I like it in that aspect. It definitely helps the kid. But once again, for all the kids out there, high school kids, college kids, don't enter that portal if you ain't a guy. Don't enter that portal. It's not always greener.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, there's parts of it where it could be helpful. Like maybe there's somebody who goes to a Power Five and they realize, oh, yeah, I'm not really a Power Five athlete necessarily. Like they still are athletic, or maybe it's like, they got to develop a little bit more. And it's like, you know what, let me go down to like mid major or FCS where that could be helpful because it's like there's some tape on them. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like this person's capable and whatnot. And they would be a better fit here. And so they don't have to go maybe all the way down to D2, or it could be the opposite where like a person goes D2, maybe for whatever, whether it's grades, whether it was recruiting or something like that, or they go to just a smaller program or not very good one. And then it's like, they're like, oh, okay, they're playing a very high level. And then it's like they're exceeding their expectations, even their coaches. And the coach might be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you, like, you got a chance to go to the league. You might need to go ahead and hit that portal. Surprisingly does happen. The running back from Mizzou, when
Cody Schrader, yep.
coach is like, hey, love you, but I think you probably need to go ahead and
He
move to that next level
took a
because
chance on himself.
yeah, it's like, you know
Took a
what,
chance
you
on
came
himself.
here, we gave you a chance. It'd be at this point, it's like it would be in your best interest to go ahead and move on to see if you have a chance to go to the league. And he did get picked up as a free agent. I thought he should have got drafted, but where he went as a free agent, I don't think there's a better fit because he went to the Niners.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, you can learn from Christian McCaffrey and whatnot.
Similar player.
But I think someone for like him, like the portal is a great opportunity because like, to lead the NCAA Division II in all rushing yards. And it's kind of like, it's
Multiple
like,
years, right? It was back to
or,
back years.
well, I don't know if
Just
it's
one
back to
year.
back, but I mean, he had a lot of yards in back to back years where it's kind of like, yeah, maybe go see what you can do at a higher level. Uh, and go from there. And so it's like, coaches can see some tape and be like, oh, maybe I can do something with this and that,
Right.
because you're playing against, at the end of the day, other college athletes.
Right. Right.
Um, with that though, for with the portal, I guess, are you seeing? Is it true that that more coaches are just going into the portal recruit versus high school?
Absolutely, that's true. Absolutely, it
Mm,
is. And the reason why for that is, once again, with high school kids, not all, but most high school kids, when they come to college ball, they're not ready to
mhm,
play ball. They're not. There's a steep learning curve. That's why they have the red shirt
mhm,
year. There's a steep learning curve to come in and play ball because there's a lot of different things that's
mhm,
going on. When you come in, shoot, when I came in coaching from high school to college, there's a major difference.
mhm,
I had to say like, oh man, I'm still learning stuff. It's like, man, what about this, that? So it's a lot of stuff you got to learn. So I believe going from the portal, you're going to get a guy who has 2 or 3 years
mhm,
of playing college ball at a high
mhm,
level come to your organization where you have a hole that step right in and could possibly be
mhm,
a starter.
mhm,
Now, with that being said, I don't. I disagree with coaches just get a guy out the portal and he automatically is better than y'all. He automatically get the starting job over everybody else.
mhm,
I believe camps, mini camps, whatever that they get opportunity to the guys that were there to prove to themselves that they could play at a higher level. Now that the guy in front of them is
mhm,
gone, I get a chance to prove myself that I can't do it.
mhm,
I can't do it, then we gotta go get somebody that can do
mhm.
it. You
Yeah.
just can't do it, which is fine too, because everybody need backups, because everybody need a breather. So as long as you have a decent backup,
Mhm.
then you good.
Yeah, and I think with that too, because football is a sport where the parity from high school to college and professional, it's not like basketball where it's like like transition wise, like the parity just from the levels is the same. It's just the difference of the athlete. For football, like the high school hashes to college hashes, guys that weren't athletic enough maybe in high school might be more athletic. Um, yeah, so some people it's like, well, they didn't quite have the athleticism for high school, but then they get to college and it's like weird where it's like they actually are athletic enough simply because of the fact that like those hashes are closer and there isn't as much area that they have to cover, right?
Mhm.
That's a huge difference because it's i- i- just go to a high school field and go to a college field and look at the hashes,
That's
especially you're playing like the secondary linebackers, there's not as much space for you to have to cover. So you're able to use your athleticism differently than scheme. And so some people, that's why you do have those difficulties with the transition. Some guys that weren't that guy, but they were good enough to maybe go to a certain level. And then it's like, well, this person's a guy now. And then the opposite, where it was like they were the guy, and then they go to high school, they go to college, and it's like, what happened? It's like they got exposed by the hashes. Like, it's like they just their responsibilities are a lot different. The leverage that they need to have, because football is very much about geometry and leverage.
yes, it
And it's like, I don't
is.
have to leverage the same way at this level.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. Can you explain from what you know, if you know that is, how the transfer portal works?
So the kids in all the sports, male or female, it's the same way. You basically go to your compliance office and be like, "Hey, I want to enter the portal."
Mhm,
And then you're in the portal. Is that simple? You don't have to talk to your coach. Obviously, it's something to do to talk to your
mhm,
coach. Because it might be something where the coach be like, "Hey, I don't think it's a good fit either,
mhm,
but I know so and so at so and so university. I could put in a good word for you.
mhm,
You could go there.
mhm,
I've heard of stories of that happening when coaches put in a good word for a kid at another university.
mhm, mhm,
Because the coach, what's going to happen to all the players out there that enter the portal? Coaches know each other. So we know somebody on their staff
mhm,
that you think you might want to go. They're going to reach out to us to say, hey, why this kid enter the portal?
mhm,
Everybody talks.
mhm,
So just in case y'all didn't think that, they talk. They're going to know why they entered the portal. If you did something, that coaching staff is going to know that you did something.
mhm,
So just don't, if you don't think that, they do. We,
mhm,
we, we know what you did. We're going to call them like, hey, if this guy, what did he do? What really did he do?
mhm,
You know, man, we're going to ask that question. Did he can play at this level? If it's a higher up level, they're
mhm.
going to ask that question. So we're going to know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So we're gonna know.
So when a person enters the portal, can they be like, actually, I'm gonna get out of the portal and just stay where they at, or it's like once you in the portal, it's like you might be done.
There are scenarios where the kid tears up the portal paper, basically get out the portal.
Okay.
So that's definitely
Okay.
that's
So they
definitely a
can
possibility.
change their mind, but if you go in the portal and you don't tell your coaches that's what you plan on
You're not
doing,
gonna come
you
back.
you are burning the
Yeah,
bridge. It's like, oh, you
yeah,
don't okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
See you, because after that point, the compliance officer obviously let the coach know, and then at that point, um, next person up, and we're looking for a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
You should have stayed and,
Mm-hmm.
and helped us out. Now
Mm-hmm.
you in a portal. There's a lot of kids. Once again, be careful before you get that portal, kids. It's not always greener.
Mm. Now, what about, I guess, what have you seen in terms of the like, you go, you try to recruit a kid, and maybe they hit you with that, well, how much money you gonna give me, or something out of pocket, and you keep them 100 with them in a way, and then they decide not to go there, especially if they do some kind of like, kids be doing the most with some of these recruiting things where it's like they got the hat on, but then like, psych, I got the shirt and
Oh yeah.
whatnot, and what I don't think they realize with that is like you might be burning a bridge with that where a coach is very upfront and honest with you and you weren't, right, and then you go somewhere else, um and then as a result it's like then they see your name in the portal after you decide to go somewhere else, or then also maybe even reach out. What have you seen in terms of that with the portal, or even not so much maybe what you've seen but even what you've heard more so from other coaches and whatnot?
So it's based off that person's
Mm,
how they feel. It's about
mm,
feelings. Some coaches, when a player gets rejected
mm,
by, or the coach get rejected by a player, and they see that player in the portal,
mhm,
some will reach out and be like, "Hey, we wanted you out of high school. You went somewhere else, which that's what you could do.
mhm,
We want you. We still want you. We still like you." Some
mhm,
coaches be like, "Nope, he burned that bridge, like you said. We're not dealing with that kid. We're gonna go get somebody else." So it's
mhm,
based off feelings and how that coach took
mhm,
the rejection, basically is,
mhm,
is how it comes down to.
mhm,
But me personally, if I'm making a decision, if the kid can still play, the
mhm,
kid can still play. Let's
mhm,
get the kid. We want him then. Why would we change now if he can
mhm,
play?
mhm. Yeah.
At the end of the day, they still a kid.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
the our coaching style um always says this to the kids to try to bring it
Mhm,
to real life.
mhm,
As a coach, your life is in the hand of 18 to 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds.
mhm,
Can you imagine the stuff that we did at that age? And now you got to play with this millions of dollars that's
mhm,
potentially out there. So it's like they're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. We still make mistakes.
mhm,
So I'm not going to get mad at the kid for going somewhere else. You thought it was better.
mhm,
What's so what? So what? As long as you're not doing anything crazy at the school to
mhm,
get kicked out,
mhm.
you still can play ball? Let's go. Come on.
Okay. And then what do you think is probably like the most important thing a person or someone, especially play football in college, should consider when they are being recruited
Hmm.
out of high school, especially, and then let alone if they're deciding to go into the portal, like what should they be thinking about that maybe from what you hear, what you see, a lot of them aren't, and also what their parents too, because I think sometimes their parents be steering them right.
Definitely, sometimes the parents. So for the first one, we'll talk about from high school.
Mhm,
So from high school, I say go on multiple visits. Go on multiple visits. You should get opportunity to talk
mhm,
to some of the players that are on the
mhm,
team. Ask hard questions. Ask questions that you really want to know the answer to, that relate to you and how you think you will fit into the organization, the school.
mhm,
For as on the football field and as well as off the football field. Because remember, kids, you're a college athlete, you gotta be off the football field as well. So don't just go ask football questions. Ask questions
mhm,
about, campus life, the town that you're in,
mhm,
the involvement with the school and the town. How the town
mhm,
people look at the college that's there, because some people don't like the college that's there because
mhm,
the noise or what have you. So ask all them open-ended questions, the hard questions. Ask the kids, and they're going to tell you. They're going to be honest with you. They're going to tell you how it really is, good or bad. They're going to tell you. So make sure you ask them questions, kids. Now for the portal guys, I'm gonna keep saying this. Make sure you dot all your I's to cross all your T's before you get to that portal, because you got to have a plan, because you might be stuck in a portal. Like I said, like 3,500 kids in the portal right now. All 3,500 not going to get picked. Some going to get left over. It happens every year. So before you enter that portal, have that conversation with your coach, at least your position coach, not the head coach. Have that conversation. Try to make those changes that the coach is telling you that you need to make in order to play. Sometimes the person just better than you. We as people sometimes can't think the guy just better than me, he's gonna play. Just the way it is. Now, at the same time, if that team is in the portal looking for somebody, they might find somebody that's better than you as well. So you go there, then they find somebody else, because people get added all the time. It's a window when you can get added and when you can't get added. So they might find somebody else in their portal that's better than you. And they get that guy. Now you sitting again and you just transfer. So be careful about that. There's a lot of situations you don't think about when you want to play ball, which once again, I get it. I understand you want to play. Think about that before you go. You know, think about going back home and hanging with your buddies and everything that you didn't want to do when you went to school. This is why you went to school. You're in that portal, you don't have a place to go, call home. You got to think about that. Now you might be forced to, walk on somewhere at that point. You could walk on. Then you got to pay for school, and there's more money out your pocket. So think about it before you do it. It's not always greener. And if you're not the guy, I advise you don't get in that portal. If you're not the guy starting for your team now, why do you think you're going to go somewhere else and immediately start? The likelihood that happened is slim to none.
Okay. Now to switch gears a little bit, you mentioned your freshman year you tore your ACL.
Yes, freshman high school.
So
Yeah,
you
98.
so you fell out of a tree. No, were you playing?
I was playing. So
Okay.
I was a starting receiver and I was a backup safety. Star player, some people call him. We call it a rover back in the day. So it's basically outside linebacker, strong safety type of player. And I was the backup of that. So the guy got hurt and I had to come in and play. And the first play, they did a sweep or they did something to the opposite side. So I was the last guy. So I had to go back and get him. And then once again, we talk about leverage, kids. Leverage is important. I had bad leverage. So he cut back because I'm too far upfield, too far on his upfield shoulder. He cut back. I tried to plant in the ground and go get him. Knee popped. I heard my knee pop. I made a tackle though. He still went down. He didn't score. I made the tackle. That's key. But I popped my knee right there versus McClure North. Never forget it, 1998. I heard the pop too, and that was it, man. That was history.
Mentally, what was that like for you?
Very hard, very, very hard, because there was no injuries up until that point. My body was good. I was lean, mean, and I was a machine, so up until that point. So it was like, man, I can't play football. I can't play football. Then they didn't want to have surgery on me. So at that point, I knew my knee would never be the same because I can't cut. Cutting hurt. Sitting down for a long period of time, it hurt. And I'm 12, 13, I guess 14 at freshman. I don't know how old I was, probably 13. So that really hurt me that I couldn't play the sport that I really love the game. I couldn't play it. So that hurt me. But I was able to play basketball, which basketball come in at the end of the football season, until the football season. So I was able to play basketball, but it hurt that I couldn't play football, that I couldn't produce. And I was better than them guys that was out there. Obviously, I'm always think I'm better than everybody. So it really hurt. It really hurt, because then I just became a regular student at that point. I still went to practice and everything, but I wasn't a football player. I was just on a team because I couldn't produce. Couldn't do anything.
What helped you cope with that injury? And
knowing that I had another year, knowing if I and once again, me playing basketball, they helped me. They allowed me to understand what I can't do with this torn ACL that I have. It allowed me to understand that, I could play ball next year. I might not be as fast as I once was. I definitely can't cut on the down like I could, but I could still play. I could still play. Be good enough to at least start. I wanted to be a starter, and I was able to do that following year, sophomore year.
Okay. And then any other things other than playing basketball to help you cope with that injury and just the recovery process?
So the recovery process is easy. It just when it swells up, put ice on it and let it
Mhm.
go because it's
Mhm.
still torn.
Mhm.
So that's what the recovery process is like. I'm gonna have to deal with this. Is where it's gonna be because
Mhm.
I'm not getting surgery until I'm old enough to get surgery on my own. Because my mom didn't want him to have surgery, cutting on me, open me up, and anything like that. Which I understood. I understood,
Mhm.
but I wanted the surgery so I could go play ball.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I don't know how we could play ball when I guess a lot of people did back in the day.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so just realizing this is what it's going to be. Either you going to still play or you're not.
Mhm.
That's your choice.
Okay. And then what was it like, especially, in your case, you didn't have surgery, but I know a lot of the times when or athletes, period, have an injury for the first time, let alone a major one
Mhm.
that requires surgery or whether they decide to get surgery or not, uh, there's oftentimes a lot of doubt and a lack of trust in whatever was injured, like being good enough for them to perform the way that they are used to
Right.
or want to, or it's like, well, if I do this wrong, this might happen again. What did you experience any of that? And if so, what helped you cope with that or get through it?
So once it happened, I knew football for that year was done.
Mhm.
So obviously I was upset. But me able to play basketball, obviously the first week or so I was timid on it, like,
Mhm.
man, I can't do this, I can't do that. Because it hurt.
Mhm.
But after a while, I learned what I could do and what I couldn't do, and I was fine.
What resources have you seen out there that schools or programs have, or let alone what resources do you think a football program should have to help student athletes more so with just that transition out of their sport. And even what was your own experience like when you were like, okay, I'm done playing, and you decided, hang them cleats up for good? Because a lot of student athletes struggle with like the identity piece of like, I'm not like an athlete anymore. Like I don't get to play the same way anymore. And it's like, well, what do I do with life in terms of like finding a job or whatever? And so just what was your experience like with that? And what do you think programs should be doing? And can you comment on what you've seen that they are doing that you think is helpful with that?
So my experience is once again, I knew early that I wasn't going to the league. So at that point, started preparing myself on what did I want to do, things I saw just in everyday life, professions that I saw in everyday
Mhm.
life. I'm like, what I want to do,
Mhm.
So at that point, I took college more seriously, and approaching college from high school more seriously because I knew I wasn't going to the league. So I need to come up with something
Mhm.
else. And then I had good support staff, families, and aunties
Mhm.
they were like, "Hey, what you gonna do? Come up
Mhm.
with a plan. You gotta have a plan. Gotta have something because football is not it. Gotta have something." You know, so I knew at that point I needed to get my grades right and so I could do some,
Mhm.
with my life for as profession.
Mhm.
So I knew me personally. I just knew. Like I said,
Mhm.
I think I'm a realist where I know I'm not going to do this or I'm going to do something. So I was already formulating in my head what I need to do. So it was easy
Mhm.
for me because I knew that it wasn't going to happen. But for what I seen and some of the things I know that every school has a mental health department.
Mhm.
In the fall, before you start camp, that first day that you report, you do a lot of the um, informative stuff
Mhm.
on the schedule for as football and then the stuff on what the school does to help
Mhm.
you out for as Title 12 type stuff, the mental health, the counseling
Mhm.
department, the administration, financial, all
Mhm.
that stuff. You get all that stuff out the way the first 2 days. So in our first day we do have representatives from the mental health department come and present to
Mhm.
our kids, and let them know where the building is at,
Mhm.
the schedule. They have access to all that information. They got phone numbers,
Mhm.
locations. They have all the information that they need if they're going through something. And it's not just for the student athlete, it's for the whole entire body,
Mhm.
faculty included as well.
Mhm.
So they have the resource. Now, will they take advantage of it or not? I think that comes down to some of us coaches as well as the parents.
Mhm.
Talking to the interacting with the kid every day as much as the coach
Mhm.
does and the parents does. Sometimes, majority of the times, you can sense when something is not right.
Mhm.
And, and offer to provide it to the student athlete. Like, hey, why don't you go by, so and so, and just have a conversation. You don't have to say, oh, you need help.
Mm,
Have a conversation. It's all you're doing. Is one person talking to another person.
mm,
Just have a conversation. So I think schools does a great job. Obviously, everything could be better
mhm,
as far as promoting their mental health department and counseling
mm,
department at the school. Let them know we're here.
mhm,
We're
mhm.
here. You
Okay.
know.
Now, what about like just the transition piece of like uh that you see kind of happening with just that transition like out of their sport and like in the life
Mhm.
afterwards? Because I know some program like when I did my internship at the University of Texas at El Paso, UTEP, like they had a whole department within their athletics to help student athletes learn like basic life skills like how do you cook a meal? Like because they had some horror stories of students trying to cook chicken. They're like, I didn't know how to cook a raw chicken. And they're like, you can't just eat that. So like they had to really help them with those basic kind of things that they didn't really know about, like how to change a tire, then like job resume, all these things that it's like at some point you're gonna have to do this. So I guess what have you seen and heard about different programs? You don't have to name it specifically, just doing that. And what do you think might need to be added in to really help students athletes like with that life part of like at some point they're gonna have to work even if they go pro at some point they're gonna have to work and not just be an athlete.
Absolutely. So as a coach, I believe in one of my mentors. He starts his conversation that he have with
Mhm,
recruits and his own athletes
mhm,
as well. He say a coach will affect more people in a year than the average American will in their lifetime.
mhm,
That's his quote that he say, and it makes you think like, man, you're affecting so many kids' lives, and not just kids. You got the parents. You're affecting so many people's lives. And that's why he coached, so he can affect people's
mhm,
lives. Great guy. Um, so with that being said, what you try to do as a coach is instill in the kid, if you don't want to talk to me, as your
mhm,
position coach or coordinator, whatever it is, we have this department that's
mhm,
dedicated to you as a student athlete, as a member of this university, that you could once again just have a conversation.
mhm,
Because no one wants to believe that they have an issue,
mhm,
that something's going on that's affecting them
mhm,
with anything. Some people just don't want to
mhm,
deal with that. But if you say just have a
mhm.
conversation with this person, that kind of is easier to deal with.
Okay. Mhm,
So I think that the athletic department can do more for as putting the mental health in front
mhm,
by continuing to have,
mhm,
instead of just the first part of the season, continue to have the mental health department come over,
mhm,
have lunch with us sometime, just
mhm,
be a presence in there,
mhm,
just let them know, hey, we got this department
mhm,
for you if you need help, this is a
mhm.
number, this is the email, this is the
Right,
building, all
right.
that type of stuff.
Okay, but now kind of step away from the mental health piece, but more so it's like just like the like that life skill part of it, or
Life
like
skills.
it's like because there's so many things where it's like student athletes because they've been involved in their sport, they don't know how to do certain things because they
Right,
never had to do it on their own.
right.
It's like it was taken care of. Like, all right, I gotta, it's what do you call it? Calling to make a doctor's appointment. I heard people be like, ah,
Yeah,
man, everything was already taken care of.
yeah,
What that's like
yeah,
something's hurt, everything's taken care of as is, or things like I said, like some people are like never had to change a tire on a car,
yeah,
and their family didn't teach, but it's like, or how to cook. It's like always had meals ready to go, but then
yeah.
now it's like I'm getting to that point where I gotta learn how to cook a meal or apply for, and so it's just like basic life skills that maybe because sports got in the way and also family circumstances,
Mhm.
they didn't have anyone teach them. What have you seen of programs having something for that?
So I've seen this was on X, aka Twitter, a couple years ago. I believe, I think it was a high school,
Mhm,
and this was usually this happened in the summer, the summer program doing
mhm,
camp, where you guys, just you guys, there's no
mhm,
other students in there, it's just a football program. I don't know if it was after practice, before practice, but he had his position group, and they just basically rotated on how to change a tire.
mhm,
So they didn't have practice, he was showing
mhm,
his students how to change a
mhm,
tire.
mhm,
So when you said it, the first thing popped in my head, and it's like I said, this is on X right now. You can look that up. he showed them how to change the tire, and the kids were just their comments that they were saying is, "Oh, I never seen this happen before." You
Mhm.
know, it just amazing how it clicked in their head that, you know, once again, not everybody's going to be able to afford this life where I could just call somebody they're just going to do it for me.
Mhm.
You know, but
Even
for
then, it might take too long, in my experience.
that's quick, easy.
Mhm.
Um, so other than that, I haven't seen a college or heard about college
Mhm.
as far as offering um well, coaches anyway offering life skills. You probably
Mhm.
do with your position group because you're with them more
Mhm.
and you understand what they're going
Mhm.
through, and everybody has different circumstances in their life.
Mhm.
But you're going to talk because there's a lot of speeches that are done in college sports. There's a lot of speeches that are done, so you're definitely going to talk about some points, but
Mhm.
actually showing them through how to do it. I haven't seen that done,
Mhm.
but I do know there's classes that you could take.
Mhm.
I guess we call them home ec back today. I don't know what they
Mhm.
call it now, but those classes that you could take that I think they might be electives. I don't
Mhm.
know, but you could take those classes
Mhm.
that give you that type of experience and whatever that,
Mhm.
you know, cooking,
Okay.
you know, knitting and all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
They give you that type of experience. So
Okay, okay. Because I know, like, depending on where one goes, like, there are some athletic departments that are like they're gonna have within their kind of whatever they're called player development. Maybe it's on a specific team,
mhm,
or maybe it's the athletic department itself. Some have like dedicated people where it's like we are going to have some resources to help people with this. Because what when I was at UTEP, the way it was explained to me is like one, it's like they have a lot of international students for some of their sports, right?
right,
Especially the Olympic sports. So it's like they're coming in. It was like where they're from, people don't really drive like that. Like where it's like you come to the United States, you got to really like public transportation in a lot of areas isn't reliable or feasible to use like
right,
you need it to be.
right,
So it's like they got to drive, but they didn't know you got to get your oil changed, you got to change the tire, or it's like they never had to cook,
right,
and it's like they don't know how to cook, and it's like well they want to live off campus, it's like, all right, well, what you gonna eat, especially if you don't have a car, to get to the university to come and take advantage of the meal, or if something's closed, you don't get to go home for the summer. Then that was a part where it's like, well, we're gonna help with these life skills because then it's like one, we are doing something and it kind of takes care of itself because then they
right.
can help other people show. So it does depend on the program and the athletic
Absolutely.
department
And their
as a
budget,
whole. So
the budget.
right, in the budget. And I think, like
Yeah,
you said, you touched on the mental health piece, which I love the part around like, hey, go have a conversation with them because I think that helps reduce a lot of this. There's a lot of stigma around mental
yes,
health,
yes,
and then it's kind of like, you know, if you say help, then somebody thinks, well, there's something wrong,
right,
and it's like it's not that there's something wrong. It's like you need support, but even that, it's like go have a conversation about whatever it is that you want to share. Maybe there's something going on that can just make it less threatening
right,
in a way, and
right,
where people will go and actually talk to somebody. Because I know for me in my work, that's one of the things I have to do where it's like, I've worked, I'm able to diagnose people, and I have to sometimes give them a diagnosis, and they'll be like, something's wrong with me. I'm like, no, nothing's wrong with you. This is what you're going through, right? It's
right,
like you're not defective. There isn't anything wrong with you. It's if it's depression, it's like everybody gets depressed. It gets to a point where it's like it's having a greater impact on you, and it does reach a certain threshold where it's like you got to learn how to address it and cope with it, right? And get through it. Same thing with anxiety, whatever it may be, so we can get you back to feeling like your normal self. And
right.
it's like, and usually the thing, eh, I'll say this once and I will say it again. I say it to students all the time I work with, loan student athletes. The main reason that students have come in that I have heard in my clinical work is my friend told me to come in, my coach told me to come in, and they way about they're like, hey, I want you to just go and talk to somebody. Just go and see, like, or like, hey, I'm worried about you, and I just want you to check in with someone, and that would be the thing that made them come in. It was like somebody was worried about me and it meant something to them. It's like, damn, like this person cared enough to say, hey, I think you need to go
You
talk to
go.
somebody about this because that's the only way that I know how to support you, which is tell you it's okay to go talk to someone.
Right,
And especially for student athletes, there are coaches out there that don't want their student athletes going around anybody for mental health, let alone performance enhancement, because that's another thing with sports psych. But because they're worried that uh, basically as clinicians, like we're gonna be non-biased and we're gonna keep it 100, and that student athlete might come to recognize like maybe I shouldn't be here, or maybe that their coach is problematic, and because
right.
contrary to belief, there are abusive coaches at all levels.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, in
Absolutely.
college, that's one of the hard things too. Some coaches with the recruiting, they're all nice and everything. Oh
Right.
yeah, ha." Then you step on that field, and they're not the same person. And it's like, who are you? This is not the coach that recruited me, and
Right.
they're treating you like you are not a human being. And so I think just the piece around having a conversation, like you said, like if programs don't have someone in an athletic department dedicated for mental health, making sure like you have your counseling center coming in periodically so that there's a relationship. Because what people don't know, right, and they often, and I have to explain this, is that as clinicians we cannot solicit services, right?
Right.
If I
Right.
see somebody and I know they're going through something, I can't approach them. They have to approach the counseling center first, right? Or and me, and if I'm in my working capacity, and from there then I can say something of like I can reach out. But if they haven't made contact, I can't reach out, right? Like ethically I can't do that.
Right.
And so it's a thing where it's like if there's familiarity, then student athletes are especially student athletes are more likely to reach out, and that's really all students. And so
Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
because people oh, I'm Frank, can you reach out? And it's like I can't confirm that I either know that person,
Right.
let alone I'm not able to solicit services.
Right.
But they come in somehow, they get it, and usually that occurs when someone's like, just stop by, and they're just doing it. And then it's like I've had a lot of students and student athletes not realize that they were going through a lot, and it was like, ooh, I'm glad I did this,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it was someone who validated some things and then let me know this is a lot more difficult, or maybe a lot more of a serious thing that I need to get some support around,
Right.
and I can get back to feel like myself or getting through it, or being able to make some changes to be in a better place, whether it's with academics, their sport performance, or just their overall mental health and well-being.
Yes.
All those things are important. The level of importance might be different at different times. So yeah. As you might hear, is getting a little rowdy out on the streets.
Yeah.
So we'll get ready to wrap this up. But I guess, what is probably the most important thing that you think a student athlete should know, let alone a parent should take into account, just about sports or whatnot, let alone college?
The college is going to vet your athlete as a parent. They're going to vet your athlete. They're going to vet you. You should do the same.
Mhm.
Do the same. Um, it's very easy to just pull up on your phone and you could get the background of their coach, of that university, and what they've done with players in the past. I advise both parties to do that, so you know what the fit is that you're getting into. Because once again, the portal is there, but you don't want to get in their portal. So just be careful of what you're going, what they promise you, and if it does not sound realistic, then it's probably something that they're not going to do. Because I've seen and heard plenty of stories where people were promised something and it didn't come through.
Mhm.
You got to vet those people just like they're vetting you.
Mhm.
And then also, if you commit to a school, at least give it an opportunity to at least give them an opportunity to um, lose your respect. So you give it to them, but give them opportunity to lose it. Not at one thing, because they're not going to drop you at one thing.
Mhm.
So just give them opportunity to get it right. What I mean by opportunity is at least stay the full season. At least stay the full season and the off season. Give them opportunity to lose your respect by not playing you or mistreating you. Give them the opportunity before you jump into that portal, please, because that portal is not for the faint of heart, because you will be stuck there.
Mhm.
And I will see you at the local grocery store. Nothing wrong with grocery store workers, but I'm just saying we'll see you there if you enter that portal and you're not a dog where you're at,
Mhm.
or a good player. Everybody throw their dog word around. You're not a good player.
Mhm.
So I say that vet them, and then opportunity is going to come. Sky's the limit. Do what you need to do. Sports is not the be all end all. If you're not good at that sport, it's okay. Get a job if it's something that you're good at, and don't just stop at one thing. Do everything to figure out what it is that you want to do, and then go hard at it.
Mhm. All right. A lot. Last question. What are your thoughts about this, the conference realignment that has occurred, and how do you think that's going to impact college sports as a whole, because I think some of the stuff has been around football,
Yes.
and I think some of these schools, to be quite frank, have made a terrible decision for some of their other sports that they especially have been dominant in with this realignment. Just what are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's fun to see that realignment. I think some of it, like the UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, I think that is going to the word student athlete needs to change because that student athlete, all that traveling that they have to do, it's going to. I mean, some of these kids only do work online anyway,
Mhm,
but still being away and being on the plane and being in the hotel for a lot of the time is going to affect their student athlete.
mhm,
It's going to be harder for the student athlete. The college schedule is crazy for a student athlete with work study, getting up, lifting, classes, practice. It is absolutely crazy. It's not for the faint of heart. So moving over and going flying, 3 hours, it's
mhm,
crazy for student athletes. But it's about the dollar. We all know that, and it's going to make the opportunity for more money because these kids want money. It's the first thing they say in their visit.
mhm.
So they want money. So it's opportunity to get the money. You get the player. So
Mhm.
I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good.
Okay. Okay. Now, with that, you do have some coaches saying, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and step down from being a head
Oh
coach and be
yeah.
a coordinator
Oh yeah.
because I think they think about like, man, the travel I got to do.
Yeah.
Especially like say football is easy because it's like home one day, away one day each week. Other sports you might play twice a week, maybe even three
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. That's a hard one. That is definitely hard. Like I say, that student athlete term might have to go
Mhm,
away because they're gonna be more athlete than student
mhm,
because they're not gonna go to class because you're going all the time. So it had
mhm,
to be virtual, and then
mhm,
that's more on the student to get the work done because you're still
mhm,
responsible for that at the end of the day. So
mhm,
it's definitely hard. It's definitely gonna be hard for
mhm,
the student athlete to maintain everything that they need to maintain. But
mhm.
there's a will, there's a way.
Well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Like, we ended up kind of doing this spontaneously, but it worked out. So it was like, hey, let's go ahead and do this real quick because we've been talking about it for a minute, but just the time and the match up. So, but thanks for supporting me with this. It's one of those things like I tell people, like, if you want to be great at something, you got to do it, right? Um, so I enjoy doing this. I loved having conversations with people, talking about sports in different ways and our experience. And it's like you just got to get out there and do it, do the work, and it'll get to be something at some point in time. But if you don't do the work, just like sports, you ain't showing up to practice, you ain't putting in the time and energy, you can't have it ever be what it will be. It's like maybe this will be turning into something great, maybe not. I can guarantee that it won't if I don't do the work. So appreciate you supporting me with this. And I should have you close out the story about Mike just to mess around, but we'll say that for another day. But
Absolutely.
next time I'm in St. Louis or when I'm in St. Louis this summer, I was thinking about getting some of us together, like you, me, Joe, Mike, just reminisce a little
Oh
bit and
yeah.
whatnot, because
That'd
I
be
think just
fun.
be
Showing some
fun
footage.
conversation. We got some footage to show,
Yeah.
whatever, just even experiences and what we're seeing now, because it's like, we all have different stories. And one of the reasons I do this is like people have insight. So like with Joe is somebody that Joe should have went to the league, but he was just like, man, I didn't understand this and that. Was trying to had to do it on my own, but he was successful and he's happy in life and it worked
Right.
out for him. How, it just the process, something might have been easier had he had just information to kind of
Right.
make certain decisions at the end of the day. But that's why I want for people to, you know, get some laughs out of it, get some
Yeah.
insight. And also to know that they're not alone with certain things, whether it's being injured.
Right.
I've been injured, so you've been injured. And a lot of the times people can feel isolated. And I think just hearing stories makes people feel connected. That's one of the reasons I love the pivot. Just some stuff to share about. It's like, yeah, I went through that. Like, or man, it's like, what would that be like? And I talk to student athletes, and then it's like, oh, okay. And I've already been thinking about it just from hearing other
Hmm.
people's stories and whatnot. So, but again, thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate the help.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having the real one.
And stop pushing people after the whistle.